Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new series that I will be doing on my channel. This new series, inspired by Mythbusters, is going to be one where I tackle 5 different myths, each myth submitted by you guys, the viewers, and we will see if the myth is true or is it false. Please do like the video if you did enjoy the first episode and if you want to see more of this series. And without any further ado, let us jump into the first myth. The first myth that was submitted by xNinjaHoX on my Facebook fan page is, can Zed teleport with Shen if Zed ultis at the right time? To test this myth, we tried various scenarios, the first one being all 3 champions are on the same screen, not too far apart. And as Shen ultis the Teemo, I ulti the Shen and my ulti actually ends up following the Shen, of course my shadow still being at the very back. However, there are a few more test cases, the second one being what if Teemo is very far away from him. In this case, if I end up ulting the Shen a little late, my ulti somewhat goes, the animation does go off, but the actual ulti does not finish and the cooldown just ends up resetting after 3 seconds. And finally, the last test case scenario, the exact same one, but this time I ulti the Shen a bit sooner. As the Shen does finally ulti the Teemo, I ulti him this time a little bit sooner, about half a second. My ulti this time does finally go off, the mark gets placed, my shadow gets placed, but I do not follow him because he's simply too far. And as you make our way to the second myth submitted by Thomas Ray, this one is asking, can Yasuo's wall block Draven ulti, and can it also block it on the return as well? This one of course was a bit easier to test. All we did was put Yasuo in front of Draven. I put my wall down, Draven ultis, and the ulti gets completely nullified by the wall. Of course, there was a second part to this myth, and it's pretty much the same thing, but this time, can the wall stop the Draven ulti on the return as well? In this scenario, we ended up letting the ulti pass me, and as it's coming back, I put the wall in front of me, pretty much the same way I would have put it if the ulti was coming directly at me initially, and once again, the wall stops it. Making our way into the third myth that was submitted to me on my Facebook fan page, if Thresh is recalling, can you click on his lantern and also be sent to spawn along with him? This one submitted by Riceboy1233. For this myth, we did it in the Crystal Scar since the backing animation is a lot faster. I throw my lantern down, go to the very end of it to increase the range of the distance Akali would travel. And as I backed, Akali is flying to me and she actually did not follow me into the spawn, as you can clearly see. Alright, and the fourth myth out of the 5 altogether for this episode. Can Vi follow TF teleporting to a location with her ultimate, submitted by Brian Ho on Facebook. The scenarios we used to test this myth were pretty much the same thing that we used to test the Zed one. In this one, as the TF teleport is extremely far away and Vi ultis him, she does not follow him through. However, if the distance that TF is teleporting is a lot shorter, then Vi will follow him with her ultimates. What we deduct from this is that if the distance teleported is similar to a flash distance, it will follow. And finally, the 5th myth for this episode. Is it possible to get hit by the same projectile twice by flashing into it? This one is submitted by Kevin Lee. This myth was actually quite difficult to test as we're not 100% sure if we flashed correctly or not, but taking the scenarios that we did do and slowing it down. In this scenario, you can see I got hit by the wildcards, I flashed backwards just before they hit me again, but this time they just simply go through me. However, we also tested it with other projectiles just in case TF wildcards were a special case. In this example, we used the piercing arrow of Varus. As you can see, the Ezreal gets hit, he flashes ahead just in time, and the arrow simply goes through him the second time. He does not get hit again. But since we want to ensure that we try and test as many cases as we can, and we weren't sure if we actually flashed in time for the other ones, we did one more scenario. In this case, Ezreal hits me with his ultimate pretty much at point blank range. I back to the fountain just before the ulti gets there and it passes right through me, clearly not hitting me once more. Alright guys, that does mark the end of this first episode of my League of Myths series. Please tell me what you thought about it, and also please like the video if you do want to see more episodes of this series. For your chance to have a myth that you submit tested in the next episode, down below in the comments, write down a myth that you want me to test, and if I choose it, I will write down your myth on the next video and your summoner name as well. But that does mark the end of this episode of League of Myths guys. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope to see you next time as well. Peace.